do you think? Aw, sweet. Center board meeting to order at 10 a.m. on August 10th. Item 1.1, call to order and flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to item 1.2, approval and adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to?
I'll move approval.
Do you have a second? Thank you, Madeline. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item 1.3, approval and adoption of the minutes from June 8th, 2026.
I wasn't able to see them when I was looking at the packet last
I wasn't able to view it last night either, but it's viewing today, this morning. Oh. I'm just wondering if we should table these since we've not had enough opportunity to read them.
I don't think there's anything pending, but we're waiting for that. Is there?
Sorry, I just got. Moving on to item 1.4. Oh, sorry. Going back to 1.3. Approval and adoption of the minutes from June 8th. Do I have a motion to approve?
And for me, it was the same thing. I wasn't able to view them,
Okay.
but I guess we could.
I move for approval.
Okay. Thank you, Marilyn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Don. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item 1.4, approval and adoption of the minutes from June 10th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes from 6/10/26.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to item 1.5, do we have any public participation? Moving on to item 2, consent agenda, we have none. Moving on to item 3.1, the Con app. And who would be presenting this?
I
today?
can.
Thank you.
So every year we do the consolidated application. It's part report on our Part D, how our juvenile hall has served our students in our county. And it reports out some numbers, how many days, etc. On the students, as well as it is a report that goes over how we spent some of our Title I funds and Title II funds. So we were able to spend in 25-26 all of our funds, some on salaries as well as supplies and administrative costs. And for Part 2, which is really directed at producing PD or sending teachers to PD, we spent most of that on travels and conferences so that we could build our capacity in our staff. And so the report's there. If you have any questions, let me know.
So this, the monies, the categorical funds we get is mainly federal program dollars, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a lot of those were zeros because in the report there's a lot of zeros, but it just doesn't apply to us because we don't have those types of facilities or.
Right. We just didn't serve students in those facilities. Either way, one, we don't have those facilities, or we didn't serve any.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions? And this is on the agenda as an action item. So if there are no questions, do I hear a motion?
I move we approve item 3.1.
Thank you, Marilyn.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Dawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item 3.2, review and approval of board policy 2124.
Yes, that, so we often bring things to you in 2 separate meetings, one for first reading, one for a second. There is certainly no rush on this, but it's a pretty straightforward recommendation. So in this board policy, which is regarding the county superintendent's compensation, one of the things that you may recall changed is the employer contribution for benefits. And historically, that has been applied July 1, as it is for all employees, as it is for board members. And historically, it's also been applied to the superintendent. However, that is not congruent. That practice is not congruent with this board policy. And so the recommendation is to change the board policy so that, similar to when board members and employees receive any change to the employer contribution, the superintendent does as well. So the addition is adding the language that says the county superintendent shall receive the same health and welfare benefits as MCOE employees. The employer contribution shall be the same as that of the certificated management employee group. Any changes to the employer contribution or health and welfare benefits shall be applied to the county superintendent at the same time it is applied to members of the certificated management employee group. The certificated management employee group is called out specifically. Historically, all employees have gotten the same things, as percentage of increase, and certainly for health and welfare benefits. But there is the potential that each employee group, which would be classified, certificated, classified confidential, certificated management, and classified management, potentially could do something different. It's not happened, but it could. And I'm a certificated manager, and so it should be aligned with that management group, or that employee group rather. So that is the recommendation. Like I said, in the past, it has automatically happened, but that practice doesn't align with the policy. But I think it makes sense for it to happen when it happens for everybody else, but our policy should reflect that.
We have any questions?
Yeah, I'm just, so if this isn't the policy now, so how is that handled now?
So what has happened is it just automatically happened. So last July, when everybody else had a change to the employer contribution, I received it too in July. We're trying to pay close attention to make sure that we're aligning our practices and policy all the time, have discovered that this is not aligned. And so that was a mistake last year. Prior to that, there have not been a lot of changes to contribution for a number of years. But for at least 10 years, it's just automatically happened July 1, the superintendent with everybody else. So if it doesn't, then I can be pulled out as my own employee group and not receive it until January, which is when my any compensation applied to the superintendent applies in January. And so the practice has been different than the policy. And
So this will just be aligning the
Yeah.
policy practice.
correct.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to give a shout out and appreciation to whoever's doing the work on this, the board policies. I know when Tarny Sheldon was here, we did like a little committee to go over these board policies because they're so aging. you
Yeah.
know, And then somebody, I don't know who's reviewing these now. Is it?
Well, Veronica she does
Oh,
the bulk
thank
of the
you.
work on this.
Thank you.
But then I actually need to call in the experts,
Do you have
right?
staff? Yeah, I just
Staff.
wondered who, the exact staff,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to appreciate whoever's doing this because
Brilliant.
we were doing it, as an extra committee
Yeah.
and it needs to be done. This is revised date 2014
Right.
and things change, like you say, and I think this is,
Well, I'm glad to hear you
This is-
say that because next month, the one for the board will be coming to you. But we have a couple more things to figure out for that regarding remuneration for board members.
I wanted to add to that too. Will we be just discussing it at the next meeting or
Um,
actually voting on a change?
I think we'll probably be voting for change. There is a slight change that we think would and it is related to employee benefits or employer contribution to benefits as well.
But we'll all be able to have a say in case we want to
Oh, yeah.
add to it because there
Yes,
was something I wanted to add to the.
absolutely. We can bring it before the board and
Yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful. And thank you. for all your help.
Yes, Veronica keeps us
We're gonna keep moving forward.
very organized.
There's a
Thank you so
lot. I don't
much.
think people realize how
Yeah.
thick the packet is
Yeah.
of board policies. And by the time we get to the last one, we're
Okay. Any other questions about board policy 2124? Should we come back and have it come up for approval next? or
It can be
we-
approved at
we
this board
can-
meeting.
We can approve it now.
I
If there's no
move-
further discussion or concerns.
I see no problem with it, and I think it's wonderful to update it. So I will make a motion that we approve item 3.2,
Okay.
board policy 2124,
As written.
as written.
Awesome.
I'll second that.
Thank you, David. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 5.1. Yeah, 5.1, the MCOE Human Resources for June and July Personnel Report.
Well, you can see that you've got not just 2 months, but 2 pivotal months of hiring. So because excuse me, the process for hiring, by the time they come to you, you're not approving this, it's for your information. So these are all employees that have already started. So they may have been, offered a job 3 or 4 months ago, but it comes to the board the month that they start. So to keep you updated on our staffing. So there you have it. And we are excited. One of our new staff members is here with us today. Mark Villas, our principal of MCOE Schools, is here with us today.
Welcome.
Amen. Thank you.
Does Mark get to introduce?
Do we have an item on here where Mark's talking? He's going to talk in the next, is it the next one?
The Williams.
Yep.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Is it
No, actually, he's gonna talk on the report.
on the report?
Awesome.
There we go.
Perfect.
There we go.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, moving on to item 5.2, the Williams Quarterly Complaint Report for Q4 25-26.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It just looks like we had a lot of important separations.
Oh, in the last,
Yes, school psychologist, speech and language. We all know the principal is happening. There's just so many instrumental
yes, there's,
positions, and I'm wondering, my question is, do we have replacements? Yeah, I saw that we got Barbara Bloom to pitch in and help, which is awesome.
yes.
However, we need.
We do have some vacancies right now. However, some of these positions were eliminated.
Oh,
Um, And because they were hired by the district. So some of the positions here, we hire and then the districts, and we contract that out with the districts, and then they pay for that service. And so some of the districts have gotten to the point where they have enough needs to justify hiring a full-time person on their own, or so the districts make that decision and let us know. And so they let us know prior to March 15th, which is the date by which we need to give notification if we're going to lay anybody off. And so some of the people that have been laid off have been hired by our districts, and some have gone elsewhere.
Oh,
But
wonderful.
that's part of the reason why this is some of the separations. It's a little bit longer list than we normally would have.
It is. It looks like sort of a mass exodus. But the 2 of them were, I think 2 were interns for the psychology interns, and they probably went on to a
Yeah.
full-time job somewhere. So that's good.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a little better.
Yeah.
Do we have any more question or comments on the personnel reports before we move on? All right, seeing none, we're moving on to item 5.2, the Williams Quarterly Complaint Report, Q4 25-26.
0 complaints.
I was gonna say, this form usually will be filled out by Mark, but with the transition between Chris and Mark, I have checked in with the school and
Everything's perfect. Any questions about the Williams Quarterly Complaint Report? All right, seeing none, we're moving on to item 5.3, Educational Services Report with Dr. Nicole Odell.
All right, there's a few things I'd like to highlight. First, introduce Mark Silas. He is our new principal at our community schools, West Hills and Ore Creek School. And they are just gearing up to get started in their training, which starts today.
Oh, you started? Oh, no. Should be there, but that's right. I'm already CPR.
Thank you so much for coming to the meeting.
Yeah,
It's
thank
so
you.
great to see you.
For our special ed department, I just started onboarding our 2 interims this morning. And Barbara Bloom and Dr. David McQueen. They are each taking a piece of special ed so that I can get back to the rest of my job. Barbara Bloom will be covering low incidence, early start area of the special ed department. That is her bread and butter from when she was the CELPA director. And then Dr. David McQueen is covering our fee-for-service, so our school psychs, SLPs, all of our providers that our districts contract with us to provide. And so we're very excited to have them here, as well as very excited that I wanted to highlight that Thursday and Friday is the first time that we are having all of our special ed staff come together for professional development in person all at once at the beginning of the year. So we are very excited to have them all in one room so they all know each other's faces and can participate in building their capacity together as a team. And then all of our teams have been very busy, even though it seems like it's a low point in the summer. We've been reading a lot of LCAPs for approvals. We've been onboarding some of our other staff, Ms. Dee Ford, our new Director of Student Services and Wellness. And then our Learning and Enrichment team has been very busy. Last week they had their Teaching Edge Conference Week, where they did a lot of teacher training, and their title was Sharpen Your Toolkit, Spark Student Potential, Re-energize Your Classroom. And they had a fantastic time with a lot of educators in our county providing those services.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, seeing none, we're moving on to item 5.4, Business and Administrative Services Report with Heather Randall.
I'll start with internal fiscal. It's always the same. We're working on closing our books right now. We have done our interim audit, which we're happy to report that so far there's no audit findings. Once we close our books, they'll come back in November and then they'll wrap up the audit report for the 25-26 year. So we're hoping that we'll continue with no audit findings. Our grants team is basically closing out some of those grants that we have. We have about 100 between categorical and grants, with about 30 being grants. So they're busy working on those. In external fiscal, we are working in conjunction with Ed Services to review LCAPs, and then we also have the adopted budgets. We're closing out the books for our prior year, and then also doing the final attendance reporting. The team has been working really hard to create additional resources for some of the school districts and charters, or for all of them, not some of them, including like a year-end close manual, which the manual is like quite thick because the process is very technical and lengthy. So that's just one of the things that they're doing to support our schools, which we really appreciate. In maintenance, you're going to hear from Ryan Bartow, the director of maintenance, next month when he does the facilities updates. I'm going to keep this part pretty brief, but we've done quite a bit of work over at the schools, doing some asphalt work, so resurfacing the parking lots and the blacktops for the basketball hoops at both schools, replacing some flooring, and then we've done some painting over at the new CNA program. Because they're so busy during the summer, you might notice that our grounds is a little bit behind. So we're trying to get that wrapped up. I know they did some focus time. Our main focus right now is to get the schools up and ready for kids to come back. And then shortly after, we'll be focusing back onto this campus. In technology, they've been really busy supporting school districts as well as our own staff when we have new hires. One of the major projects they're doing is a keyless card entry for getting in and out of doors. And that's going to be really helpful because we have the old keys. We either need to do a replacement of keys because there's just so many kind of unaccounted for, or this new system, which is much easier to program and way more cost effective than replacing any of those locks. Kylie Heath, who's the risk manager, has been working with Mark Feliz around they both have become certified PROAC trainers. And that's really exciting. So they're going to be doing a lot of work together. And I know there's a lot of excitement, I think, from both sides. So that's going to be really helpful for our schools and our staff. And then on the student data piece, we wrapped up the end of year CalPads reporting for MCOE, and we're also preparing for the Aries database rollover, which is our student information system. And then as well as like helping some of the school districts and charters who might have some staffing issues, vacancies, where they need us to kind of step in and kind of have more of a major role in some of that data. And that is all I have for you, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Heather? Thank you so much. Everybody's so busy. There's a lot going on this time of year. Yes. All right, moving on to item 5.5, the superintendent's report and district updates.
Yeah. So in June, I had the pleasure of attending the North Bay Construction Corps graduation events. They have one on the coast and one inland. Super exciting to see seniors graduating with skills, with tool belts. I'm excited about careers in construction. There were probably 15 to 20 on the coast graduation and closer to 30 inland. So that was fantastic. I think I've reported to you that I'm now on the legislative committee for the California County Superintendents. Now I'm now the chair of the committee, which that also puts me on the executive board of directors for the California County Superintendents. So I'll chair my first meeting this week. So I'm excited about that work. Also in July 21st, we held a public disclosure of increase for compensation. So part of the negotiations, after negotiations close with our employees, then we have to publicly disclose whatever was negotiated. We report that to the board as a way of keeping the board updated, which we did last May, I think June, yeah. But we also have a meeting. Nobody from the public actually comes, but we do publicly advertise it. Our employees already know the stuff, so they don't need to come because it gets emailed out to them. But I do want to make everybody aware that we do our public disclosure, and we held that on July 21st. Each July, the Mendocino County's Office of Education hosts a conference for 5 other counties. So it's 6 counties total, cabinet level county Office of Education leaders. It's a really powerful conference because it really gives us an opportunity to connect with job alikes from other county offices, do some learning together and some planning together. This year we had 2 presenters come from the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence, and they presented on leadership development. We also had School Services of California come, and they gave updates on the state budget. School and College Legal Services are the law firm that we primarily work with, came and gave a presentation on legal updates. And then we also had a forum with Assembly members Chris Rogers and Damon Conway. Both represent districts or counties within, our counties are within their districts. So they came and talked about some of the work they're doing, and then heard from us on legislation that is important to us. So that was a really good conference that just took place a couple of weeks ago. And then I've served on the California School Boards Association committee, planning committee for the annual education conference. So this summer, what that meant was I had the opportunity to review several of the workshops. They have the workshops kind of scored and rated. They don't just accept anybody who wants to do a workshop. And that is really exciting because you get to learn a little bit about what's going on throughout the state. So that was a time commitment. I didn't expect it to be take up as much time as it did, but I learned a lot from that. So that was really great work. And then also the California County Superintendents, through them, I was invited to go to Apple Park this summer for one day and hear about some of the work that they do and how they come up with, how they make plans for work, and how to learned a lot more about AI, and learned a little bit about how their new employees get to where they are. It's very competitive, and they had a panel of new employees who were all fresh out of college, talking about what they wish they would have learned in high school or things that helped them in high school. And one thing that I really took away was you would expect that they were all like bang up students, and a couple of them said that they were not fantastic students in high school or even in college. But they talked about loving to learn new things, and they talked a lot about the importance of connecting with a staff member, having somebody who championed them, and the connection with the work world, and also talked about not wanting to focus so much on grades, and the pressure of getting top grades when you're a driven student is pretty intense. And they reflected on how they wish they wouldn't have been quite so concerned about that, and that grades didn't matter as much as they had once thought that they would, which that was really refreshing to hear from some people who I think by many accounts would be considered quite successful. Also, I got to be the keynote speaker for our Teaching Edge conference that was last week. And that's a conference for teachers from around the county that MCOE puts on. So that was a really good group of people. And then this last week, we also, MCOE has a partnership with Public Health where we've shown a movie called Fentanyl High. So we've done our third showing. The third one was just in Point Arena. We have a fourth one still being planned in Willits. We're hitting all of the movie theaters. Even though the movie doesn't have to be shown in a theater, it is a nice venue to hold that. So the one in Willits is not, the date is not firm yet, but we will be doing it one more time. So that's my update.
Have you done one on the coast?
Yes, we've done two on the coast, one in Fort Bragg and one in Point Arena.
Yeah.
So that's my update.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Marilyn, would you want to kick us off for
Why
board
not?
reports?
Certainly.
Sorry, moving on to item 5.6, board reports.
Board reports. Well, we've all been busy, and I missed everybody because of our July meeting. I felt like we have a meeting. We must have a meeting. And I checked the MCOE website, and sure enough, we had a meeting on there for July. But it wasn't, but it was. I contacted Nancy and I said, I didn't make a mistake, did I? Like, no, we don't have a July meeting, but it is on our website. I was trying to get everyone's personal phone numbers, and I noticed that our phone numbers aren't visible any longer. So that's one question, because I do use my business card and it's got my 5015, and sometimes you don't want to give out your cell, and so that number would go directly to my cell. So I called it and it doesn't any longer. It goes to a voicemail box. So I don't know if the new members probably weren't used to having their own number, but I know we used to have our own personal number with MCO.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore.
Okay, good to know. I didn't realize that until I went to look for everybody's numbers. But that's neither here nor there. I thought that was a fun fact that we had a July meeting on our website. Our website looks nice. I'm hoping we can get another group picture like we had out of the preschool. That was wonderful under that big tree. Dawn and I are the only two still standing from that photo. But I've been busy. I went to North Coast Opportunities because I know Dawn's been asking at most of the meetings, are we feeling any of this trickle down yet from the budget cuts, the 2026, and everyone's heard, well, maybe mid 2026, all the agencies are going to start feeling the cuts to all the programs. And we've been pretty immune to it here. One thing that is coming down the pipeline, and I don't know how large of an impact, if any, it will have on us at our facility, but I just wanted to get some dialogue going about it. I spoke with two gals there. I went in twice. Concepcion Batista told me that 50 families are losing their subsidy. Some of those are Lake County. It's not all Mendocino County. But this is one of the 7 programs that's been cut, the preschool program. And I toured our preschool because I have a family member who's lost their subsidy. So they don't have any information. They said if they do get a subsidy, it will probably only facilitate 5 families.
And I did get that number from Conception about, she finally told me, yeah, there's 50. And this was about a month ago. And so I said, well, maybe we can get some dialogue going with the County Office of Education, because I think that we are, correct me if I'm wrong, we do have to provide preschool. And it would really impact us to have to, even if we just did half though, if we had to house 25 kids, we don't have room back there.
So
We
they
don't have
it's,
the
it's one of
teacher.
the most highly regulated things in any school district is the preschool program. And we run the consortium, so we're the LEA for all the public preschools in Mendocino County. So if there are concerns, we can certainly talk to Kristen. She's very involved at the state level and very on top of those things.
And the families aren't getting information. They're just getting told check
About
back
preschool or about subsidies?
about the subsidies.
Oh,
They're waiting to go. It would make better sense, of course, for us if someone needs to kick in and do a subsidy, for us to do that with our reserves, as opposed to buying more classrooms, hiring dozens of teachers, and trying to house all the kids here. I just don't know how any of that works. But the families, I don't know if the families are going to just choose to keep their kids home because they can't afford preschool. It would be a shame to see our most needy population go without, just because NCO closed the door on these programs because they're not getting the funding anymore. They're not telling the parents, call MCOE, they've got a state preschool there. They're just saying, check back with us and see if you're going to get your subsidy or not. And I think that's a sad situation. I just wanted to, bring that up and let everybody know that we might be getting a ton of new applicants here. We might not. But if we don't get them, it's probably because the parents aren't aware that we're available. Should we put a MCOE preschool flyer down at NCO for the parents that stop in?
We've done a lot of promotion, and really most of them should be probably going to UCI Unified.
Okay.
That because they operate 4 preschools, but not all the slots are full. So there should be countywide. I don't know each school district, but I do know that there have been open slots.
I think we have I don't think people realize we have a superior program here. They bring in food from the high schools. I'd like to recommend that we do another tour whenever it's available.
Sure.
Whenever we did that, and it was fun. And there's been some changes since the last tour. The food's coming from the high school, which is awesome. The kids get to eat, but the high school kids, like a pizza or something instead of, they used to prep it here. So that's new and exciting. Some of the structures, they've got some water play that's new. It wasn't working right now though. They do need some M&O out there. We can talk to Ryan at the next meeting. The one big play structure is caution taped off because it needs a weld or something. Something's broken on that. And
there's
then,
a work order.
Yeah, and then but it's pretty awesome. They've got a washer and dryer set up. We've got some excellent staff out there. I just don't think people realize that we have this little gem back there. So anyway, that's my report. Thank you. I care about the kids, not just because one of my family members is looking for preschool or lost their subsidy for the preschool, but I don't think the other families have options. Thank you for bringing that up. David?
I don't have a formal report, but I will say it's good to be back. Excited to be here and excited that school's getting ready to start and see all your faces again. So.
I took up all your time. So thank you.
I have nothing to report. I'm enjoying the doldrums of summer. Just one comment on what's been said about preschool, and that is, at one point I did some reading on education in Finland, and at one stage, Finland, their government made a real decision that they were going to improve their educational system. And one of the things they did was they really developed an intensive system of early childhood education. And it has paid off big time for them. So it's just a really important thing, I think, in today's world to get kids into a learning environment early.
I think we've done that to an extent with TK.
Mhm.
They've expanded TK, which is great.
Yeah.
It is, really is, because a lot of it's two household working parents
Yeah.
in today's day. So putting them in a quality educational program instead of just a daycare for those, as we know, the 0 to 5 is so important. Their little personalities are formed by 5 supposedly. So we want all that to be as positive as possible. But with 2 working parents, that's hard.
Yeah.
So I agree. Quality at the young age prevents the expulsion hearings here.
We're allies.
There you go. Can finish each other's sentences. That's it.
Okay. In June, I attended Administrator of the Year. I felt pretty proud. Mendocino County was really well represented for a very large regional area. So I don't want to say congratulations to Nicole again. I was really happy to share that moment with her. But just for my personal development, and on the 5th, I attended CSBA's Leading Through Policy. And this week I'll be attending 2 Master in Governance courses.
So will we, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. So yeah, I have a short report as well. I'll be attending the MIG 2 and 3 training. It's in Yuba County.
Yeah.
At their Office of Education. And that's, I think, Friday and Saturday. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm not an ag person, but I know we have ag people in the house. So if I'm not using the right terminology, please jump in and help me. But I just want to recognize Fair has come to a close, and it's so big for our communities. We have so many teachers, parents, community members, mentors, businesses, feed stores that support all of the youth in their passions. So I just definitely want to acknowledge that. And it's exciting to see. I was not able to attend this year. I was out of town, but I think it was very well attended. And I also wanted to kind of just give a quick shout out to Ryan Welter, who is a recent grad of Fort Bragg High School, help me with this, Grand Reserve Superior.
I think so.
So congratulations to Ryan. I know I've known him all of his life. He's been, this is definitely his passion, and he is moving on to Oklahoma State. So I wish him the best. He'll do great things. So thank you.
Was that in the auction?
Yes.
Was it what animal was it?
Was
it a beef?
His beef. His
Oh,
beef.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I believe his steer's name was Thor.
My daughter used to do the rabbits. And I used to do the cooking and that type of lead. I was that leader. My daughter was the junior rabbit leader. It's such a good thing for kids.
It really is.
Great.
It is
Keeps them
great.
off the street.
It teaches them such leadership skills, and it's awesome. I wish I would have gotten my kids into it.
It's a lot of work though.
Okay, so let's see. Moving on. We don't have a closed session. Closing items. 7.1. Our next board meeting.
I think there's a typo there. It's August. September 14th at 5:30 p.m. This is September will be an evening meeting. September 14th.
Thank you for the correction. Okay. And item 7.2, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Adjournment.
Thank you, David. You have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Don. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you.
We are rolling right into our next meeting.
Perfect.
So if you want to open up your the agenda for the committee.
Committee on School District Organization.
Yes, and if you don't have it open, you have a printout in front of you that has the agenda as well. It's a very short agenda.
Okay, so it is 10:39, and we will call this meeting to order. Moving on to item 1.2, approval and adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
I will move approval of the agenda.
Thank you, David.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, moving on to item 1.3, public participation. Do we have any? Moving on to item 2, discussion and action. There is none. Item 3.1, review of the Mendocino County Committee on School District Organization.
I didn't want to have nothing on the agenda. And as you may recall, we have these meetings scheduled twice a year in the event that something comes up so that we do have regularly scheduled meetings. And so what I put on for our information is just a brief overview of what this committee is. And because for anyone viewing, I'll read it because it's pretty brief. A county committee on school district reorganization is an independent body responsible for reviewing, approving, or recommending changes to local school district boundaries and governance structures. The committee ensures that school district lines and election structures adapt to demographic changes, legal requirements, and community needs while maintaining equitable educational access. Primary responsibilities: district boundaries, evaluation petitions for territory transfers between school districts, as well as district unifications, annexations, or dissolutions. Governing boards, establishing, rearranging, or abolishing trustee areas, as well as adjusting the number of school board members or altering how trustees are elected, such as transitioning from at-large to trustee area elections. And public engagement and arbitration, conducting public hearings, analyzing the community and educational impact of reorganization proposals, and mediating local boundary or governance disputes. And we do not, again, there's nothing that has come to us, but that is a summary of what this body does.
So what triggers something that would come to us?
So if a district decided that they wanted, I think the last time something came to this body was when Ukiah Unified went from being at-large board members to district area board members. So if they were to change the number, if a board were to change the number of board members, for example, that would be another thing. Or if a district, if there was some analysis that determined that a district boundary should change, that would be another.
Who does that analysis?
It would come to us. We can prompt it if we think that there's a need, but usually a district would come to us, or another agency, but it's usually a district that comes to us.
Any further questions? We had someone last year, I believe it was early last year, maybe even late the year before, that did a presentation on what our role was, and that was very helpful. I wonder if we can
do that again. That was somebody from CSB, an attorney from CSBA that did that, and that was kind of helped us get on track of this body previously would only meet when needed, so it would go years without meeting. And that for the public looking for how do I do this, if the public had a concern, they don't have regular meetings, the public really has no way of knowing the correct process. So that was us getting on track with making sure that we're aligned with the intent of what this body should do. But we can certainly invite him back. Our next meeting will be December 14th, and we can invite, he came via Zoom and gave an overview of what we do and what you do. And in some counties, it is not the county board that holds this role. In many, it is the county board. But in some counties, they have people from different school districts. The configuration can vary, but in our county, this is our configuration.
So yeah, if anyone thinks it would be helpful to review, maybe that's something we can look at doing in December.
We can certainly do that. That's an easy thing to do.
Okay. No more questions, comments? Thank you. So we will move on to item 4, closing. Our next meeting for the Committee on School District Organization is December 14th, 2026. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move adjournment.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that's at the
Right.
regular, yeah, that's at the regular meeting.
Okay. Thank you.